Yeah, it's been years now that Mogilny has been eligible to go into the Hockey Hall of Fame. And Eej, you were saying that this is a guy that, in terms of the importance of the direction in which the game has gone and kind of paving the way for these Russian players to come over here and play, is probably pretty important to hockey history. So, I don't know, do you think that he should indeed be a member of the Hall of Fame?
Well, I mean, I think that the drumbeat has gotten louder over the last several years for Alexander Mogilny. I think there's a number of things that I think work in his favor. I know talking to Brian Burke, who's a member of the selection committee, he talked about the idea that international competition, international play is part of this as well. Alexander Mogilny was part of, I guess, the old Soviet Union World Junior team prior to his defection. And I mean, that's one of those things, right? Did that hurt him moving forward in terms of international play? I'd have to go back and see. I mean, because you remember the Soviet Union fell, there was the independent states for a short period of time, and then there was Russia as we know it more recently. And so, that is kind of where he was at from an international standpoint. But he had a huge year when he came over, the 76-goal season. He's won a Stanley Cup. He's had other excellent seasons. He's more than a point-a-game player. He had an injury issue that I think really ended up curtailing his game a little bit, of back problems. So, for me, when I look at some of the guys that are in, I certainly could see a strong case for Alexander Mogilny getting into the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, one of those guys that, I grew up, watching hockey as a kid and all the Rock'em Sock'em videos growing up, and he was always the, flash and score and go big goals, and then got to play with against him for a few years as well. So it's kind of cool to see these guys, kind of watching them grow up, and then you're playing against them, and a real treat to watch. And yeah, I think he definitely is probably at the top of the list to get in this year. And you look at guys that you don't want to compare apples to apples or whatever, or apples to oranges, I guess, but almost the same stats as Paul Kariya. Yeah. Right? Buddy has a Stanley Cup. Paul Kariya, no Stanley Cup. And I played with PK in Nashville for a couple of years. Loved my time with him as well. So it's very, very similar. And,
look at that.
Who knows? Yeah, 989 points in 989 games. Yeah.
Right.
And Paul Kariya is another guy that injuries were a part of his career. He had a significant concussion problem where it cost him. I think it really bit into his career because I think it took him a while to get through that. He was never really quite the same player after that, and he was an amazing college player as well. He was one of the few true freshmen in the history of NCAA hockey to have over 100 points as a true freshman. He might be the only one, just off the top of my head, but he's in. So that's how you make the case for other guys.
Make comparables.
And for the viewers at home, again, it's an 18-person selection committee that meets, and they discuss this. And, it's done pretty much in secrecy. And you can see here are the names.
It's pretty small, though, 18 people.
Secret society here.
Yeah, well,
but now we know who they are.
They've been put on alert.
It's never really hidden who they are.
Sure,
but, I mean, you can see the names up there with varying degrees of hockey acumen as players or broadcasters or different parts of the game. And, that's my only negative about this. I say it usually every year, is I wish it was a little bit more transparent, process that we would learn a little bit more about how it takes place. But what I can tell you... Is
that the aura of it, though?
Well, I mean, I think that you have to have someone in that committee of substance banging the table for you a little bit when push comes to shove, because I think it is a 7. I don't know the exact. I don't want to, misstate it, but it's just obviously a certain percentage of those 18.
Yeah.
You have to get. I think it's 13 or 14 of them that you have to get on your side to get inducted. And you got to remember too, they can only induct a certain number each year. So in the case of Mogilny, there might have been years where he had support. But maybe it was a year that really some no-brainer first ballot guys went in ahead of him. So we'll see how it plays out this year. Henrik Lundqvist is probably the only. He's probably the only guy that I would say this year is a
shoo-in.
Seemingly a shoo-in, because we don't really know all the time.
Yeah.
Henrik has a lot of positives on his resume, and I would think for sure he would go in this year, but it's within that 18-person committee, and we'll see what they come up with. We'll know on Wednesday.
Yeah, but we've talked about other people that I would say are shoo-ins too, like the fact that Jen Bottl's name's out there. We talked yesterday about her importance to the game, and remember, this is the Hockey Hall of Fame. This isn't the NHL Hall of Fame, which is a good point, again, going back to Mogilny, right? Like, he had the international success as well, so it's not just what he did or didn't do, and he also did great things in the NHL, but whether it's a women's game or international players or whatever, like, it is the Hockey Hall of Fame, not just your success in the NHL. Yeah. So I think Jen's a shoo-in. I think Henrik's a shoo-in.
Well, I thought Brendan Shanahan was a shoo-in in his first year because he had won multiple Stanley Cups. He had all kinds of unbelievable numbers, and yet for whatever reason, he did not get in year one. He did get in his second year. So I never like to, after that experience, I never like to say anything is for sure.
Right.
We will see what the committee comes up with. They will meet and go through the process.